Hi, my name is Kelly Crabb, and I choose to do my research paper on recess times and the effects on literacy. First up, a little background information. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that students have 60 minutes of vigorous play each day. In comparison, a survey was conducted in 2014 within Chicago school districts. In that survey, they shared that students get 26.9 minutes of average playtime. Now, the term recess is defined as a break time. So that 26.9 minutes of recess time was break time. That doesn't account for vigorous activity. Currently, Texas is trendsetting with a program called the LINK Project. Within this project, students are given more recess time. Kindergarten through second grade get 4 15-minute outdoor unstructured play times, and third through fifth grade get 3 15-minute recess times. By doing this, the schools in Texas have seen noticeable changes in the students based on their social emotional needs, on their reading and academic needs, attention spans, and problem solving abilities. And so other districts around are looking to Texas to see if adding more research into their everyday school day will help. For my project, I looked at two theories. The first one was Piaget's theory of cognitive development. Piaget has shared that a child's brain progresses over time in relation to physical changes, activities, social experiences. These social experiences relate to recess time because students are constantly outside with their peers playing through physical activity. So during these times, most times they're not being supervised, so students have to be able to problem solve. They create their own experiences, and they grow through those experiences outside. This is helpful with a reading standpoint because teachers always have to be thinking about prior knowledges and experiences that students have outside of the school in order to relate the text back to students, or students need this in order to comprehend different materials. The next theory is Vygotsky's theory of social constructivism. In this theory, Vygotsky suggests that students are building their own meaning through these social interactions with their peers. And they can then gain the mastery of language, which is helpful because they are able to master things like the alphabet, words, listening, speaking, and writing. And when they are creating meaning around their world, they can create experiences within the classroom as well. This goes hand in hand with Piaget's in that students will use their experiences in order to scaffold learning. They can also work well in small groups. They can problem solve, and they can ask for help more easily when they are playing with their peers, which is very helpful in reading because they are going to need any of that oral language that they used outside of the classroom in order to read and write and spell. So within my research, I found two different surveys. The first survey was a survey amongst a group of fifth graders in a school in Mississippi. This survey was conducted in order to see the differences in on-task behavior and off-task behavior. On-task behavior are behaviors in which students are engaged in answering questions, They're able to interact with materials, their peers, resources, and they're able to complete assignments in order to succeed in the reading curriculum. Off-task behaviors are when they are putting their head down, they are talking when they're not supposed to, or they're getting up when they're not supposed to. So in the survey, they found on average that students are showing on-task behaviors 36.8% of the time before recess. After recess, they are showing on-task behaviors 70.3% of the time. This is important because of attention. Attention is one of the most important things when it comes to being engaged in work. When you have attention on a topic, you are questioning, you are listening, you are encoding information that you find within text, or comprehending different tasks. This is helpful because it then goes into your memory, in which you can use those skills that you learned, maybe decoding or comprehending in future assignments. The other survey I looked at was one about moderate to vigorous amounts of physical activity. There were students between first and third grade who were being monitored using heart rate and movement sensors. The goal of this survey was to see if phonics and reading comprehension had increased. They used a multiple choice assessment in order to guide their data. And what they found is that for the most part, girls showed really no changes in the comprehension or phonics piece, but boys were linked to higher comprehension and achievement, reading achievement, when they had that activity compared to boys who were sedentary. So the most important thing is how to actually incorporate it into a classroom. Similar to the LINK program, kindergarten through second grade would get 4 15-minute recesses, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. Third through fifth would get 3 15-minute recesses, 1 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. The teacher would set a timer. When the timer went off, students would stop whatever they were doing, even if they were doing a test, put everything down, and then they would walk outside. They wouldn't have to wait on their teacher. When the whistle was blown to come back in, students would walk back in the building, have a seat, and get started where they were. They don't have to wait for their teacher. They don't have to line up. This helps with classroom management and time purposes. Positive implementation on this, that increased attention span. Once again, when they're learning these things, they can put it into their memory more because they are paying attention more to the concepts. If they're not paying attention, it's not going to go into that memory. They'll have increased active listening because they will have more on-task behaviors. And those experiences outside, whether it is a problem that they solved on their own or any conversations, they can use it in their learning for future reading, comprehension, prior knowledge, that sort of thing. The thing to look out for is the negative implementation. This is not a punishment, because if it is used as a punishment, those students who get it all the time will get frustrated, they'll lose motivation, and they'll not even think that they can get this recess time or break time that they deserve. Other considerations, you have to have the teacher's buy-in. If they don't believe that it's going to work, they're not going to put very much effort into having students do this. And then they'll also use that punishment piece we talked about. We also have to think about state assessments and state requirements, what those would look like. It is crucial just to keep the same timetable so that students are aware that they get that break that they deserve. Here are some of the references that I used throughout my piece. I hope you enjoyed learning about recess implementation, and thank you for listening.